call the meeting to order. Tonight we have a representative from Girl Scout Troop 2472. And would you be so kind as to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You did a wonderful job, and you even had a police escort. Real quick, if anybody is here for the ordinance on the parade, that's been removed from the agenda. And it was published on the, I think, social media, but it has been removed. So if you're here for that, that is now gone. Okay? And we do have a representative from Girl Scouts who would like to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Brian Newberry. I'm the CEO of Girl Scouts Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho. I just want to celebrate Eden here, representing 3,200 Girl Scouts all across Eastern Washington, Northern Idaho. We have, over the past 2 months, visited 16 different city councils across our vast territory. You are our last. And we're there to celebrate the Day of the Girl, which was in the fall time frame. And so Eden, who goes to Celtice, this day is to celebrate you and to let you know that we want to hear your voice, because your voice makes the world a better place. But I'm also here tonight to celebrate you, Sir Mayor. Mayor Jacobson was the first mayor when I started as CEO 7 years that opened up his heart and his council to my Girl Scouts. Jackie Livingston, who's a great service unit leader there, she's getting a little tearful myself, but but I am too. You were the first one to give a gold award, to recognize a gold award Girl Scout in our council. That's the highest award in Girl Scouting, to her daughter Jackie Livingston, and you also recognized Sierra Livingston, and you also made Sierra Livingston Citizen of the Day for her work here with the VFW. So Mayor, from start to finish, you've been there for Girl Scouts, so if you ever need Thin Mints, just let us know. We gave him a Thin Mint ornament because he is truly #1 in our hearts. So Mayor Jacobson, these Girl Scouts are actually #3 in the country for Girl Scout cookies. Last year, they had over 40,000 boxes donated to our troops and our first responders. And after the tragedy in Coeur d'Alene just before the 4th of July weekend, they went on out and delivered 5,000 boxes of cookies to every northern Idaho first responder, including the great city of Post Falls as well. That's what you all do, is you support Girl Scouts, and in turn, they support you to make the world a better place. So Eden, God bless you and your Girl Scouts for all they do. And more importantly, God bless every one of these servants up here who are making our world a better place. Mayor Jacobson, we'll never forget you. You take care.
Appreciate it. And we do have a couple of announcements. City Hall and business offices will be closed at noon on Wednesday, December 24th, and remained closed Thursday, December 25th, in observance of Christmas. City offices will also close at noon on Wednesday, December 31st, and remain closed Thursday, January 1st, observance of New Year's Day. Emergency police and fire services are available by calling 911. The police department will remain open for walk-in emergencies. For water-related emergencies, call 208-773-3517. Also, I was talking with a couple folks from the city of Coeur d'Alene yesterday, and they've got, I think, now 17 applications for the opening that they will have in their city council with the new mayor coming in. And as you well know, we'll have a new mayor coming in the first meeting in January, which is going to open up a seat on the council. And I would encourage anybody and everybody who is interested in submitting their names for the city council to please do so. I think when we had appointments a year ago, we had probably 10 or 12 applicants. So hopefully we will get a number of applications for that position. And in addition, there will be an opening on the Urban Renewal Agency. So if anybody out there has an interest, please feel free to stop by the city and submit a form with our wonderful clerk, Shannon Howard. Opportunities there, please take advantage of it. And I guess I should have started by saying, please note that all council members are present. And we do have a swearing in as opposed to swearing at. It's time to swear in our new Parks and Recreation Director. Who is doing the honor? Shannon.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Parks and Rec Director of the City of Post Falls according to the best of your ability?
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. Does that mean this is your last meeting, Dave?
Well, I will be a citizen next time.
You've been here for many of them. Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda other than the removal of that one ordinance? Gotta push a button.
Just the removal of the parade ordinance.
And we do not need a motion for that?
No, it's just remove, if we were adding anything to the agenda.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of conflict? Would you please present the consent calendar?
Item A is minutes from the December 2nd, 2025 City Council meeting. Item B is accounts payable, December 3rd through December 17th, 2025. Item C is October cash and investments. Item D is fiscal year 2025 street and road report. Item E is salary survey contract with Optimal Talent Dynamics. Item F is Arrive Post Falls Construction Improvement Agreement. Item G is Harvest Meadows Subdivision Construction Improvement Agreement. Item H is North Place East 4th Edition Subdivision Construction Improvement Agreement. Item I is Crown Reserve Subdivision Final Plat Approval. Item J is Welk Estates Minor Subdivision Final Plat Approval. Item K is Poleline and Zorros Grant for Rights of Way and Easements ANNX 24-2. Item L is McGuire Annexation Reasoned Decision ANNX-25-4. Item M is McGuire Annexation and Development Agreement ANNX-25-4. Item N is McGuire Annexation Grants of Rights of Way and Easements ANNX-25-4. Item O is Echo Estates Grant of Rights of Way and Easements ANNX-24-5. And item P is Echo Estates Annexation and Development Agreement ANNX-24-5.
Any questions on the consent calendar? Entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion? Roll call, please.
Plou,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is unfinished business returning, public hearings. Tonight we have none. Followed by unfinished business returning ordinances and resolutions. And we have a bunch. First ordinance, Villa Point North. Let's go, Joe.
I move to place the ordinance Villa Point North Vacation VAC-25-2 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader, aye. Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Plou,
Aye. Motion passes. You're up, Mr. Harrington. First of many.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, providing for the vacation of a 10-foot ingress, egress, and utility easement situated in the corner of lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, Block 1 of the plat of Villa Point North, according to the plat thereof, recorded in Book L, page 654, Records of Kootenai County, Idaho, located in the southeast quarter of Section 34, Township 51 North, Range 5 West, Boise Meridian, as described herein, providing for disposition of the easement, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing severability, providing an effective date, and providing for other matters properly relating to thereto.
I move to approve the ordinance Villa Point North Vacation VAC-25-2 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader, aye. Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Plou,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next is the North Place Vacation.
I move to place the ordinance North Place Vacation VAC-25-3 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Stigleader, aye. Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Harrington.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, providing for the vacation of approximately 5.05 acres of right-of-way running through the North Place East subdivision, providing for disposition of the right-of-way, providing repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for severability and an effective date.
I move to approve the ordinance North Place Vacation VAC-25-3 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Motion passes. Next ordinance, Poleline Zorros annexation.
I move to place the ordinance Poleline and Zorros Annexation ANNX-24-2 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Harrington.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, annexing property consisting of approximately 5.215 acres located at 4553 East Poleline Avenue, providing for amendment of the official zoning map and providing an effective date hereof.
I move to approve the ordinance Poleline and Zorros Annexation ANNX-24-2 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Shannon, please take the roll.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader, aye.
Motion passes. Next item up is the Echo Estates annexation ordinance.
I move to place the ordinance Echo Estates Annexation ANNX-24-5 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, annexing property consisting of approximately 10.309 acres located at 2641 and 2709 West Echo Drive, providing for amendment of the official zoning map and providing for an effective date hereof.
I move to approve the ordinance Echo Estates Annexation ANNX-24-5 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Motion passes. Next ordinance is the G2 development annexation.
I move to place the ordinance G2 Development Annexation ANNX-25-2 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader, aye. Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, annexing property consisting of approximately 10.05 acres located at 166 East Horsehaven Avenue and assigning it a zoning designation of residential mixed, providing for a change in zoning classification for a 8.3 acre adjacent property located on East Horsehaven Avenue from single-family residential to residential mixed, providing for an amendment of the official zoning map and providing an effective date hereof.
I move to approve the ordinance G2 Development Annexation ANNX-25-2 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item up is the ordinance McGuire annexation.
I move to place the ordinance McGuire Annexation ANNX-25-4 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, annexing property consisting of approximately 18.11 acres located at the southwest corner of North McGuire Road and West Poleline Avenue, providing for an amendment of the official zoning map and providing for an effective date hereof.
I move to approve the ordinance McGuire Annexation ANNX-25-4 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Blue,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleiter. Aye. Davis.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Motion passes. And the last one is the ordinance for the fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 1.
I move to place the ordinance fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 1 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleiter. Aye. Davis.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Blue.
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, Idaho, amending the annual appropriation ordinance 1531 for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, to reflect the receipt of unscheduled revenues and to authorize expenditure of previously unbudgeted fund balance, increasing and establishing the appropriations and expenditures in various departments and funds, providing that the tax levy upon taxable property within the city is not affected hereby, providing that all ordinances in conflict herewith are superseded by this ordinance to the extent of such conflict, and providing that the ordinance shall be effective upon its publication date. And I would also note that this gets published in full.
I move to approve the ordinance fiscal year 2026 budget amendment number 1 and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleiter. Aye. Davis.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Blue.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item up is new business, and we have 3 items tonight. The first is the Urban Renewal Technology District Plan Amendment. Mr. Seal.
Mayor and Council, Bob Seal, Community Development Director for the city. So we're here tonight to talk about processing an amendment to the Urban Renewal Technology District Plan. This plan was originally put together in 2018. This amendment went through the Urban Renewal Agency and it started with them. A couple of months ago, the Prairie Medical Center came in and gave them quite a detailed and long presentation that covered everything on all their plans, what they were looking to do. And coming out of that, they followed up with a request for amendment to the plan. This is an amendment, not a modification. The difference being that a modification resets the base. This is just an amendment. More or less, a lot of it is clarifying information that we didn't necessarily have beforehand. I wanted to show you a map of the general project area. As I noted, there were certain aspects to this that we didn't really know when the plan was developed in 2018. There was a lot of detailed information for the areas north of Prairie, but not a lot of detail south of Prairie. So as we'll kind of discuss, is that there was little information then. So again, on August 16th, 2018, the City Council established the Urban Renewal District. Following up in the fall of 2025, North Idaho Healthcare Holdings, ultimately the Prairie Medical Campus group, requested that the plan be amended. And as I noted, this is a plan amendment. Plan amendments are made to, as long as they're supporting growth or development of a commercial or industrial project in an area, existing revenue allocation area, then it does not constitute a plan modification, which would reset that revenue allocation area. The purpose of the ordinance or of the amendment. The Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency passed a resolution on November 20th this year, stating that the purposes and major goals of the plan are to ultimately create and expand public infrastructure and public facilities within the entire Urban Renewal District, to enhance and improve transportation routes and collector streets within the district to enhance future development, to strengthen the district and enhance related commercial development and support with the project area, and to provide commercial and recreational facilities for the residents and Post Falls and visitors. So as part of this, I wanted to just kind of show what the amended infrastructure items look like. So you've got, I wonder if I can do this. Let's see here. Pointer. Magnify. How do I screen pointer options? I like this. So right now, Zorros dead ends right here, and Fennicus dead ends here as well. This is an unimproved dirt driveway essentially right now as well, and this is just an unimproved parcel. This is the location of the future Prairie Medical Campus, and they will give a presentation after me in order to better elaborate on the details within the plan so that you can better understand the full scope and the whys and the wheres. But I kind of want to just highlight a few things. In the original plan set back in 2018, all it called out for this area related to what they're requesting today is that it said that the Meyer alternative line, which is the Fennicus, which is the sewer deeper and larger sewer line in Fennicus, was called out as additional cost to upsize the planned 10 to 15 inch pipe at a deeper depth. That's all it called out in regards to that. And then in regards to the, ultimately these are collector streets. These are higher volume collector streets, minor collectors and major collectors that help to move traffic, not just for the neighborhoods. Those are local streets. This is for the entire region, essentially utilizing these as the backage roads. And as I talked about at the Transportation Master Plan workshop earlier, these parallel routes help to reduce the demand on shifting that demand is what they look to do, right? So with these projects, what they're looking for ultimately is the being able to complete Zorros and Fennicus all in one fell swoop as opposed to incrementally. If we were only to develop as development happens, which is often how it works out, which is how it has worked out so far, the roads dead end as they slowly move along, putting in their developments as we go. We're looking forward to being able to connect Fennicus and Zorros up to Prairie. That would connect them all the way down to Poleline as well. Additionally, there is the route that some development projects have taken that if you are working on a phased project, maybe you don't have to do all the improvements all at once. So for lack of a better term, you game the system. You do a boundary line adjustment and you only work in that designated area. Potentially, Prosper could have been that, where they ultimately just did a boundary line adjustment where they're only affecting Prosper, and so therefore the only improvements that you get is that improvement to half of Prosper on their side of the project. What they're proposing to do is work in coordination with Lakeside Development, Jack and Land Company, Parkwood Properties, as well as the Prairie Medical Campus to do all these improvements in a nearer term and more of a cohesive manner so that we can see that, the fruits of our labors, essentially, see it happen quickly so that we're no longer waiting for that incremental development to happen. This will help bring them on earlier and sooner, and by being allowed for the reimbursement through urban renewal.
Mr. Seal, can I
yes.
ask about that question? So are you saying that without this proposal, there is a world in which Zorros doesn't get finished all the way up to Prairie, even though this piece of property is developed? If that's one piece of property.
So, phased project. So they are currently looking at their first phase, and they'll expand more on this, is the fact that they've got phased project for the medical campus. And their first phase is kind of down here in this lower southwest corner, which I believe is an emergency room as well as a doctor's or medical office building. And so there is a world where a boundary line adjustment could be performed, and they essentially limit themselves to fronting on Prosper and Highway 41 and only do the improvements associated with that initial phase.
And when you say boundary line adjustment, you mean cutting that one singular piece of property into multiple pieces of property?
They already have multiple pieces of property. They have 3 pieces of property on there. There's 3 different parcels.
It is 3 different parcels.
And boundary line
already.
Adjustments allow you to move those in
Okay.
for configuration.
Sorry, just from the maps that we've seen, this is one piece of property, one parcel, but that's not actually true.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it's broken up into 3
Okay.
under this one. And I did realize earlier tonight that I don't know if you've all heard the presentation from Prairie Medical Center. I had heard it 3 or 4 times, so I had assumed and made an assumption that you had heard it. So luckily they are here to be able to provide some more context to this. These are the estimated cost based on 2025 dollars, and it shows a little bit more of a breakdown as to what would be considered for reimbursement. As you can see, some of it has to do with right in, right out on Highway 41, some of the infrastructure, water and wastewater that surround the site, as well as the Zorros road improvements, Fennicus improvements, and Prosper improvements. Again, those are all collector streets that will help implement the transportation master plan as well. And talking with the engineer, the city engineer, he indicated that this is a really important corner, and getting these types of improvements done in the near term will definitely help with the whole system in that quadrant of the city. And instead of saying any questions, I decided to say the end.
Any questions, Bob, at this
Fun
point?
story. I have a question about the dollar amounts there at the end. So assuming that this parcel is built out incrementally over, say, 10 years, today's dollars are worth more than tomorrow's dollars, so wouldn't it then be a better investment to do this sooner than later? And that's kind of what we're driving for?
That is true as well, yes. Yeah, though the estimates back in 2018 when they did these, it only amounted to $800,000 for the pieces that they were looking at. Obviously, a big difference there's a difference in the types of facilities, but definitely a difference in dollar amounts for sure.
So, and then kind of a follow-up question to that, these improvements are ones that we kind of already plan to do with this project? We're just kind
We
of
plan to do within
moving
this
up
area.
Within this area?
Yes. So as I noted, it could be done incrementally, as you know, Foxtail does it. Foxtail also has, it's not, I don't know if it's part of Foxtail, but it is a mixed-use development along Prairie Avenue that they would like to do in the not too distant future, but providing the timing of getting Zorros and Fennicus implemented helps to alleviate some of those pressures, so that we can see that happen in the nearer term. Same with along Prosper, you've got the Prairie Medical Center on the north side, and then you've got the Parkwood properties on the south side, which are also indicated for future development, likely, potentially medical related. But
The
that's up
difference
to
here,
them.
though, is that if we pass this, then the developer gets reimbursed for all of the effort to build it, and if we don't pass this, then they don't get reimbursed for these things, correct?
Correct. They would be limited to what was in the original plan.
Can you just be really clear about how that's different than what you're proposing? And I'm sorry to ask for
That's
that.
okay.
Because
Yep.
to me, it seems like other than Fennicus and the west portion of Prosper, Zorros and the other side of Prosper, I'm sorry, the east side of Prosper, the west side of Prosper, that's gonna have to be done anyway.
So, correct. There are things that will be done. In the plan, Prosper isn't really called out. It is called out under Foxtail Streets. We'll just go ahead and consider Prosper, Zorros, and Fennicus all considered Foxtail Streets.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's in the plan from 2018.
Okay.
And what it allows for in that is the additional width that a collector requires. Okay. So you've got your standard local road that may be 36 feet wide, whereas the collector is, let's just go ahead and add 12 feet. I don't know.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. It's
65.
extra.
I feel like
It's
he said
extra. It
65
adds
wide.
extra to it,
Okay.
and it has more requirements within it.
Okay.
So that's kind of what was looking to be reimbursed at that time, which isn't unheard of, especially when it comes to residential projects. They typically, urban renewal typically does not reimburse for local roads or things that are supportive only of residential projects. Their goal especially within this plan, was to focus on commercial and industrial development up here. And so that call out in there that it was, well, we'll reimburse for wider collector streets, kind of goes in line with their mission that, like, okay, we're asking a residential development to build a wider road. So we're going to potentially reimburse them for that smaller amount, which is just the change in width. Whereas we now have better vision for this area and a better understanding as to how this area is developing out, and they were able to better clarify the project improvements that were needed for the Prairie Medical Campus, as well as the adjacent land to the south of it, as well as the mixed-use development on the lakeside property, in addition to the Jacqueline ranch property to the north, where their project is ultimately limited until such time as the Fennicus or the Meyer alternative wastewater line gets installed. So those are kind of all these different pieces are at play. And so much of these improvements, you can directly relate them to needed improvements because of the commercial and industrial development that's happening within that quadrant.
So if I could summarize then, in 2018, we didn't know what was going to go in this corner. So in the plan, it says that we're going to do a smaller type street and we're going to reimburse for that. But now that we do know what's going there and we have a plan to do that, that usage is really truly requires a wider street. So we need to change the plan to
It's more in
hold on,
line.
I'm not done
I'm
yet.
sorry.
Okay. To reimburse for the wider street that now what we know it's being used for is more appropriate. Is that an accurate summarization?
I believe that the request would be to reimburse for the entire street as opposed to just the extra width. But it is
okay.
more in line with the goals of the plan, which was to support commercial and industrial development.
Now, Zorros is squarely within R1. Is that correct? That zoning over there?
So
Or
this is
it-
R1.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Fennicus.
Fennicus. Can I have my
It's
pointer
residential,
again? It is a
regardless.
PUD.
It's a PUD.
It's a PUD, and they had originally, they've had a mixture of uses, but it is R1 in this area. This section is currently unannexed.
Okay.
It's the Hughes property over here.
Gotcha.
So it's unknown currently what would be there. However, this is Prairie Avenue, so we would anticipate and expect kind of higher intensity uses up along Prairie.
My understanding of the urban renewal reimbursement plan is that we only reimburse residential at 30%. Is that accurate?
They do have policy 7, which touches on residential development can be reimbursed like up to 25%. Is kind of what was chosen.
So would we be looking at reimbursing the work on
Let's
Fennicus?
let him, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Fair's fair.
But
Oh,
Finish- let
I
him
know.
finish.
But
I
it's
just
not-
I get in trouble for taking so long.
Okay.
So I'm
No,
sorry.
it's good. You're leading
Then
down.
you can ask again. Go
You're
ahead,
leading
Bob.
me down the right path. And so Fennicus is not set up to just serve the residential area.
Okay.
Fennicus is one of those backage roads, and it's actually that's the major collector.
Okay.
So that's the one we anticipate being 35 miles an hour. Good easy straight shot from
Gotcha.
Poleline to Prairie.
Okay.
So it's drawing, and it's also adjacent to the school. So you'll be able to have school. Will be able to now, people who drop their kids off at Treaty Rock
Sure.
will now be able to head straight up to Prairie,
Okay.
as opposed to meandering their way back through a neighborhood and out.
And the reimbursement rate for Fennicus would be
I believe they're requesting. They can clarify this if I'm wrong, but I believe they're requesting would be requesting the full
the
reimbursement
full reimbursement
for that
Okay.
portion that they're
Okay.
looking to develop.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Any
I have
questions?
one quick question
Go
on that then. So why was Fennicus not designated a full collector street if it was going to be a backage road to Highway 41 initially?
I actually can't answer that question. I believe that it was just called out as a collector, and it was just the primary piece is that it was unknown what was happening south of Prairie. If it was just strictly, Rob's happy. I'm happy to have Rob talk about it. In their plan set for the tech park, it calls it out as a collector. So yes, we knew it was going to be a collector. There was question probably back in 2018. I have to make these assumptions, and Warren was here. He might be able to confirm, but I believe that we kind of, because it was called out as Foxtail Streets, it may have been assumed that it was going to be residential development all the way up to Prairie Avenue, single-family residential, and so therefore it left it open. In 2018, they were also able to be more vague about the projects that they were doing. And today, urban renewal requires a little more specifics about the projects that they're doing in order to be reimbursed for them, which is why you see this kind of called out in a little more detail, full collector street improvements from Prairie Avenue to Prosper, including utilities. So this kind of provides more information. I know that when we were doing the roundabout in downtown district at 4th and Idaho, we had to do a minor amendment to the text within the plan to indicate, hey, we were also considering a roundabout, even though we talked about we were doing all four corners of the infrastructure improvements for this, we just didn't specifically identify roundabout. So we had to modify that plan, or not modify, amend.
Clarify that, we still don't know that Fennekiss isn't going to be residential all the way up to Prairie, correct?
I know that they've got a plan for a mixed-use type of development at that northern portion, so that where it runs into Prairie, there is a, all I know is it says mixed use. And I also know that I've spoken with them in the past, and they've got a project that they would like to see put in there. Is it residential? I don't know. They do have they have potentially, this is residential, but I'm not 100% certain. This could be, I can't tell what Gabe was drawing here. I'm gonna blame Gabe. Maybe Gabe didn't even do this. I don't know. Anyways, I can't tell what that is. But it is currently residential in a PUD. Again, the improvements of Fennekiss will definitely, if we can get all of them done around the same time period within the same project period, it would greatly benefit that whole area. So.
And then Fennekiss north of Prairie is all residential, or going to be all residential?
Fennekiss north of Prairie is Jacqueline Ranch.
Right, which is.
And that's all commercial.
It's commercial?
Commercial. There's actually the zone, when zoning came through and approved, it strictly said no residential. So,
Thanks for
and
the
that's,
reminder.
that's okay. And that's one of the reasons why there's also the need for the wastewater line, the Meyer alternative line, to be completed in there, so that eventually it can take the capacity and shift it around so that we can actually service that area to the north of Prairie.
Yeah, I have one more question, if I'm allowed. Might seem silly, but our urban renewal agency feels like they will have the funds to now I've lost the word.
Reimburse?
Yes.
Reimburse the increased costs that this would incur?
Yes.
Isn't
Yeah.
it- Excuse me, isn't it not true, though, that if they don't have the funds, they don't get reimbursed?
Correct. If they don't, if the increment does not develop enough for this, it could be left unrefunded, and so ultimately they end up carrying the bag in the end.
Okay.
My understanding is that they are on potential path to be able to, should all the OPAs get approved and get them in the cycle, they should potentially be able to begin reimbursing in just a few years. So.
We have a great track record with our urban renewal district, so I would hate to set us up for something that didn't look as good as we've done in the past.
Yes, no, I think that they don't have any concern. They've, again, I've already processed this amendment. From their perspective, they have looked at it and agreed that it fits within the scope of the plans. And
Cool, thank
I
you.
believe that they are okay.
Okay, and you said they would like to speak?
They would like to speak as well. So I will close this. And this is the, who's coming up? Jamie? Yes. Okay.
Name for
Just
the
gonna
record,
start
please,
this for
Jamie,
you.
when you get up here.
Thanks, Bob. Good evening, Mayor Jacobson, City Council, Post Falls. I hope you don't grill me like you did Bob right there.
Please.
Ready.
Well, we're excited to present this.
Jamie, I'm sorry, give me your name for the record, please.
Oh, Jameson Smith, CEO of Kootenai Health.
Thank you.
Thanks. We're excited to present this proposal to you tonight. Kootenai Health, Multicare Health System, Parkwood Properties, and Lakeside Development are coming together as collaborators to make this proposal. It's our vision to create an anchor for this rapidly growing community. With respect to the healthcare services, I can speak to that most specifically. Kootenai Health, Multicare, and Parkwood are developing the 30-acre parcel just to the south and east of Prairie and Highway 41. It will be a major medical campus. It will be developed over time in phases, but at its maturity, it could exceed our Coeur d'Alene campus. So we are envisioning full hospital, beds, operating rooms, emergency department, hundreds of jobs, all kinds of physicians' offices, and other services. Now, that's not happening day one, but that is the vision over time. Importantly, though, right now, Kootenai Health is not abandoning its current Post Falls location that's centered around Mullen Avenue. This campus is going to be in addition to that location. Really, we want to serve the growing healthcare needs of this community. all of Post Falls as well as really West Kootenai County, which is rapidly growing. But we also want to decant our Coeur d'Alene campus and decentralize some of our services. Healthcare is moving to that model. In addition, we want to be a destination for jobs, for economic activity and growth. We believe we can move with this infrastructure being done at one time in a much more coordinated way. It will benefit not just the partners here tonight, but also beyond in this whole area. And so we really hope that you'll ask good questions of us. We want to make sure that we make a compelling case for why to approve this. And I'll turn it over now to our project manager, Ben.
Name for the record, please, Ben.
Thank you, Jamie. Good evening, Mayor, Council members. My name is Ben McGuire. I'm a project manager representing the North Idaho Healthcare Holdings. So what you see here on the screen in front of you is a rendering of what we're calling Phase 1. It is an emergency department on the left there. We have a central connected lobby with a medical office building on the right. There's going to be an imaging suite in there with MRI, CT capabilities. It's going to have 14 ED beds and about 100 exam rooms in the medical office building. So very excited for this opportunity. So absent of the urban renewal reimbursement, the roads that we're going to talk about, the utilities, the sidewalks, those safety improvements, they would be constructed in pieces as it's phased, resulting in a piecemeal road and network infrastructure. With this amendment, it allows Kootenai Health, Parkwood, Lakeside, we can deliver these improvements now in a coordinated effort in a cost-effective manner aligned with the adopted city plans and support the pace of growth already occurring in this district. So I realize this is probably the first time some of you are seeing this, so I'll try to orient you here. You can see in the top left corner is the Prairie Medical Campus, and we have some dashed lines here that show phasing of the campus, the first phase being anchored in the southwest corner. To the south of Prairie Medical Campus is the Parkwood Medical Park development. In the top right-hand corner is the Lakeside Assisted Living development. This is what we're considering the commercial area there. Directly to the east of the campus is the residential neighborhood, all single family. We think this is a great opportunity for a live and work, play community. To the south there, you can see the new city park that's going to be developed, Foxtail Park. The goal is to develop this road infrastructure, utilities, and park in the next 2 years with your guys' support. Phase 1 of Prairie Medical Campus represents about a $120 million investment. As I said, we plan to complete this in late 2027 and early 2028. The future expansion is 250 beds and will include additional medical office space. That's to be built out over the next 10 to 15 years. With Parkwood Medical, it represents about a $100 million investment over the next 5 to 10 years. And Lakeside Senior Living is about $50 million, which is adjacent to the residential development. So all of these projects rely on the same underlying public infrastructure network that's addressed in the amendment. So the economic impact. Collectively, these projects are expected to create more than 1,500 new jobs. These are primarily high-quality healthcare professional jobs. Prairie Medical Campus, it's a community-owned hospital. It's critical to meeting the region's current and future healthcare needs. While Multicare and Kootenai Health are nonprofit organizations, the ownership structure of this joint venture means the properties are not tax exempt, so they will pay full property taxes. With the technology district expiring in 2039, advancing the infrastructure now ensures that the tax-based growth and community benefit are realized within the life of the district. So the infrastructure here that would be part of this amended plan, it's already planned. It will be city-owned. and it will benefit the entire community and not just a single project. These improvements complete the road network identified in the city's transportation plan, creating a connected grid that includes Fennicus, as we've talked about. It's a major collector, and Zorros and Prosper as minor collectors. This connectivity enables growth for the commercial aspects of this region and improves the circulation and reduces pressure on Highway 41. The improvements also enhance pedestrian safety through sidewalks, bike lanes, and crosswalks, improves access to the Foxtel Park, it's a city asset, and strengthens school access, neighborhood connectivity, and emergency response routes. The water and sewer infrastructure included in the amendment supports not only these projects, but broader regional development, as well as the deep sewer install will directly benefit the Jacqueline Ranch commercial development directly to the north of our properties. So as has been discussed, the Urban Renewal Agency has already recommended approval for this. This is not a modification to the plan. It doesn't change the boundaries. It does not reset the revenue allocation. But it adds approximately $6.4 million in eligible public roadway and water and sewer improvements. These improvements are public assets that serve the entire district. The partnership funds these improvements up front. We seek reimbursement only. So this amendment implements the goals established by the Technology District adopted in 2018. It enhances the potential for commercial development at our location and beyond. It improves the transportation routes and collector streets and strengthens the district and supports both commercial and recreational uses for residents and visitors. In short, this request advances the exact vision the city originally set for this district. In closing, our collective investment today and the future exceeds $500 million. The infrastructure included in this amendment is foundational to supporting the growth safely, responsibly, and in alignment with the city's plans. This amendment does not expand the district or alter the financial base. It simply enables the reimbursement of eligible city-owned infrastructure. And that benefits the entire community and accelerates its delivery at no additional expense to the city. On behalf of Kootenai Health, Multicare, Parkwood, Lakeside, we respectfully request your approval for the Urban Renewal District Plan Amendment. We really appreciate your time and open to any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Bob.
I just wanted to make one last clear point, is that this is just amending the plan. This is not actually develop the owner participation agreement with the Urban Renewal Agency. They still will go through that process, and they will ultimately be able to make that determination as to whether or not, say, Fennicus is fully reimbursable based on their own internal policies. So that's up to them to make those determinations. So
Thanks, Bob.
I do have another question for you, maybe for Rob, but one of the advantages is getting all the roads done and completed at once as the development is constructed in phases. Are there pros and cons to road maintenance for doing it all at once versus phasing it in?
Yes, the short answer is yes. We were actually talking about that recently at a meeting that I was in, that there are so many sections of road within the city that are done in these incremental phases that, one section of the road is 5 years old, but the other section is 15 years old, and having to do these incremental maintenance projects throughout those areas does cause some extra work to be done, potentially extra expenses in the long run. But yes, it does certainly help with reducing that.
So there is also extra expense, probably somewhat nominal, but if all those roads are complete now, then we have to start plowing them now, and we have to do those things. Do you think, in your professional opinion, do the pros outweigh the cons?
Yeah, they do. They ultimately get it done in the near term, and a property that was kind of touched on is for future development. It helps with the Jacqueline property to continue to develop out as they envision it. So there's a lot of benefits to being able to get these incremental pieces done now, as opposed to waiting for another 5-10 years for the pieces to come into place. So.
Thank you.
May I ask a question of Kootenai Health? Sure. Sorry. Can I drag you back up? Sorry. So if I can, if this is not approved, what we should expect to see is only incremental development on these streets. And that's kind of what is on offer for us. Approve it, get complete streets and infrastructure put in, or don't approve it and see. And you are saying that your business plan will be to only incrementally and perhaps only on one side of the street make the improvements that are required by our city's plans as you move along, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. I just wanted to have it all laid out there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jamie. Council, before deliberation, well, let's go with deliberation. Any comments, or you want to float motion? What's your thought?
I think that getting the infrastructure in now, I see what you're saying. Like, we're going to have to maintain it. I think that it's hard because we're making a commitment out there. Fennecis isn't actually on this property, but I think the determining factor for me is that getting the infrastructure in early-ish in the Tech Park Urban Renewal District could potentially speed up the other developments there and increase that tax base faster to have more time not only to repay for the infrastructure that they've done, but perhaps exceed the projections of that urban renewal district, and then we can use that for other things that are beneficial to the residents of Post Falls, as opposed to doing it incrementally and then potentially just not having time to realize that tax increase. But I'm happy to hear someone else's opinion about that.
I would say two things. I agree with you. I think the speed of getting this done is important, considering that we're already 6 years into the URD term. So getting the improvements done in time to realize that increment, I think, is important. Otherwise, we'll be kind of pushing toward the end of it. I also know from public feedback that anytime we have major developments that are phased out, they fight construction, traffic, and noise and all those things over a period of 15 or more years. So I do like that all the infrastructure will then support the additional construction traffic rather than having the residents fight it for that long period of time. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I like that. You know, there's not a plan to reimburse for residential streets. Those are not colored on the map. These are just the kind of major parts of the transportation network that are primarily serving access to commercial development in the area. I think that's good. And getting the complete backing roads behind 41, getting those sooner, I think is a real benefit, because we're going to see a lot more commercial development there. And having, you know, extra ways to access commercial properties takes a lot of load off the other streets. And we don't want people going through neighborhoods when we have the ability to just have the street.
And I think we hear it throughout the entire community, all of us do, and that is infrastructure first, infrastructure, infrastructure. I think this is a good opportunity for us to get the infrastructure in. And I love the idea of the collaboration that's taking place. So it makes perfect sense.
I've been a bit on the fence on this one, and part of it, I think, goes back to my thoughts that when we lost our original proponent for the tech park, that there's a big part of me that thinks we should have just closed the entire urban renewal district then, because a lot of it was specifically to bring in that one specific proponent. Now, there is a lot of residential in this urban renewal district that, you know, in my opinion, the urban renewal ought to support commercial and actual areas of blight. And, you know, a lot of this was largely just open prior to that. And of course, you know, finishing roads quickly is a lot easier to do when the taxpayers pay for it. And ultimately, you know, that money doesn't come back to the taxing districts until 2039. And it's the but-for test. Would this occur but for the urban renewal district? And I think that, yeah, this would probably occur whether it was there or not. It would just happen more slowly. And the people of Post Falls would be able to realize the benefit of that increment sooner and be able to spend it on other things, because the developer would typically be responsible for paying for these infrastructure improvements. So having said that, the urban renewal district does exist. These types of amendments are normal and reasonable. And there are some things in this amendment that I think are greatly to the public benefit, such as the backage road. That's been a hot topic for 10 years now. And I voted against some annexations farther down that jeopardized that backage road that fortunately it worked out, but if it hadn't, that would have stunk. The traffic on 41's bad enough. It puts access to that park in play, and we need jobs in this community. And this is the type of project that provide high-quality jobs. So I'm kind of got a devil and an angel on each shoulder, and that's where I'm sitting.
Anyone?
Yeah, I'm supporting. I think it's near instant continuity, connectivity. That's important. If it helps for a faster rollout of the rest of the target area, I'm all for it, so we can wrap it up in time. And if the project goals are realistic, this is a win.
The Urban Renewal District, the tech park has languished, as Mr. Malloy referred to. And on the west side, it's going to continue to languish until lawsuits are settled, the states are settled, et cetera. I look at the players on this, so what everybody else said, I agree with. But I look at the players at this, so I'm going to take a little bit different approach to it. Not as familiar with Multicare. I know who they are. I've talked with them on several occasions. Kootenai Health, Lakeside, Parkwood, Multicare, and you throw the Jacquelines in on that, we could not, in my opinion, we could not be dealing with a better group of developers, citizens, than those who are presenting this proposal to us. And I would wholeheartedly support it. I think the fact that additional medical services in Post Falls, I think, is tremendous. I think it's a win, and so I would be very supportive of it. I don't think I'm going to get to vote, but I would be very supportive of it. And I thank you for looking at it. And it was just not quite a year ago when Mr. Smith called me and says, we're going to have a press release in the paper tomorrow, and I just wanted you to be aware of it. And it was, I'm silly. I thought it was a $30 million project, so I think I was short a little bit. But again, I think it's a great project. So anybody, we need a motion on that then, correct?
I'm pushing the button. There it goes. It is for ordinance adoption, so it would be the actual, just like what we were doing earlier.
Well, so we would read it just as an ordinance, or ask that the ordinance be brought back?
No, this one we'd ask to just go ahead and adopt it. And so.
Okay. Anybody want to float a motion?
Hang on. Yeah.
You want it? You got it?
I got to get back to the. I move to place the ordinance Urban Renewal Technology District Plan Amendment on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Does that work for you, Field? Motion second. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Plou,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Post Falls, Idaho, approving a plan amendment but not a plan modification to the Post Falls Technology District Urban Renewal Plan adopted by the Post Falls Ordinance 1349 to support the growth or development of a commercial or industrial project within the existing urban revenue allocation area by adopting a revised Appendix A, adding urban renewal projects within the district, authorizing the city clerk to transmit a copy of this ordinance to the Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency, providing for severability, providing for the repeal of all conflicting ordinances, providing the summary of the ordinance, and providing an effective date.
I move to approve the ordinance Urban Renewal Technology District Plan Amendment and direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Davis,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Ziegler,
Aye.
Plou,
Aye.
Westland,
Aye.
Stigleader,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Next item up is the Crown Reserve Park Construction Improvement Agreement. Robbie.
Robbie, don't take it personal. Don't. That's all good. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Robbie Quinn, Parks Planner, here this evening seeking council's approval for the construction improvement agreement with Medalist Development for a Crown Reserve Park. So earlier this year, the city signed a CIA with Medalist Development for the Crown Reserve subdivision. and Phase 1, and part of those plans and agreement was the development of a 3.6 acre park. And while that was going on, the developer approached us and asked if we would be willing to partner with them on this development and share some of the construction costs, and then ultimately get the park dedicated to the city to be a city-owned and maintained park. And so we brought concepts to the Park and Rec Commission, got their feedback, their input, went through the design process, and ultimately came up with the plan and the agreement for you this evening. And so, as I mentioned, the 3.6 acre neighborhood park, what will be developed if this agreement is approved will be the site utilities, water, sewer, electrical, stormwater drainage, the dry wells. There will be a 27 stall parking area, on-street parking essentially, that's kind of bumped off of the road, similar to what we have at Crown Point Park. That will include the internal concrete walking paths, sidewalks, the playground curbing, 2 basketball courts, earthwork, excavation grading, the landscape and irrigation, the asphalt loop path, and road frontage improvements on 2 of the roads. The northern one is yet to be complete until the Phase 2 goes in. And so that would be constructed as Phase 1 essentially next year. And then Phase 2, kind of similar to how we did the Foxtail agreement, we would come in following year, add playground equipment, shelter, restroom, and in this instance, there's a proposed splash pad.
So just to clarify.
Sure.
Phase 1 is on whose dime?
Both. So it's shared construction costs. So the way the developer kind of approached us was they're obligated to build this open space park. And so those kind of base amenities they would be paying for. So the grading, the earthwork, the landscape, the irrigation, the asphalt path, the road frontage improvements, they're covering those costs. And so anything that we desired as some of our standards, we're covering those costs. If approved, they would begin construction. Obviously, the subdivision is currently under construction, but construction on this park this winter, early spring, with the plan to be complete in November of 2026. And again, if approved, the city would reimburse them $349,380.01 upon final inspection, dedication to the city, and then submit for reimbursement. So with that, I'd stand for any questions.
Questions, Robbie?
So,
go ahead, Joe. And then we'll come back to you.
sorry. So there's a certain amount of improvement that they're required to do anyway, on their own dime.
Grass field.
A grass field essentially and a couple other things. And so they want us to pay to make that a nicer park, and then they dedicate it to us so they don't have to pay taxes on that parcel anymore.
Correct, but we are also getting the land costs donated as well.
So they are donating the land.
Correct.
What's the value of that lot?
So 3.6 acres. Our most recent purchase within the city was the additional land at Montrose Sports Complex. Went for $240,000 an acre. So we'd be looking at about, if that equated, about $860,000.
Okay.
And based on kind of some of our comps on landscape development, about $350 a square foot, we'd be looking at another $350,000 in added value.
Yeah, thank you.
Ready?
Just to make the trade-off should be clear that if we don't do this, we just get an HOA maintained green space with a little paved trail through, like a lot of developments have. And this is to get an actual city park.
I don't know exactly what their plan would be if it was an HOA park, but yes, it would be an HOA park.
That would be the minimum requirements, which is basically just an open field.
Correct.
Which is what we've seen in a lot of places. So we take on the cost of maintaining and some of the expense in exchange for getting a more functional park.
Correct.
This is big enough that you feel comfortable taking it on. I know there's some that have been too small.
Yes, it's pretty close to our minimum that we'd like to stick around. However, given where it's located off Spokane Street, easy access, closer to another park that we do own. So again, we're already going in this area. There will likely be a trail located on the western side of the park. It's joining the school district site. So there's kind of a lot of factors in that we decided, or determined that it was absolutely worth it.
How far from Crown Point is this park?
I don't know the exact distance, but this road is essentially the northernmost developed that of Crown Point currently.
So not far.
Not far.
Is it, huh? I'm sorry?
I would guess about a quarter mile.
Okay. Is it within our park's plan to have 2 city-owned parks?
We have
so
other
close?
ones like that, but I think the key is what Robbie said about it being connected to the school district property.
Which the school district has 0 plans for right now, right?
Right now, but it will be someday, and there are things at the Crown Point that we can relieve some of those and make adjustments to.
Okay. Can I be honest about my heartburn about this?
Yes.
Okay, I think a developer said that they were going to build a really lovely park in their development and then turned around and said, well, how about you help us make it better, and then also we'll dedicate it to you, and then you can maintain it. These residents are going to continue paying the same amount of taxes that they pay, whether they have an HOA park or not, but now the city will, so we're not going to get an increased revenue to be able to maintain this park when there is another park so close. But if it stayed an HOA park, the residents within that community, it would be their burden to maintain their own private park. So kind of the niceness, or not the niceness, but the level of service at that park, it's not like it's not like a convincing argument to me, because it's going to be an HOA park. So they can make it whatever they want. If they want to put 2 basketball courts in it for their HOA, like, they totally can. It's just not on the community's dime to do it or maintain it. The other thing that makes me curious is, Robbie, they didn't come to you with a plan of like, hey, this is what we were gonna build, but if you want it to be better than that, then you guys will pay for the extra. They didn't, there wasn't like a base plan.
No, we didn't have, they didn't present us with a plan of what they were going to do.
Gotcha. Kind of makes me, like, it would just be so much clearer for us to decide, like, what is actually, like, an increase in service that we're paying for, as opposed to us just paying for anything that's not literally a grass field. Like, maybe they were going to put something in there, but now they're not even going to say that they're going to do that because we're going to offer to pay for it.
Sure. I think from our perspective, the value that we're getting, like, as I mentioned with the land cost, and land availability,
Yeah.
We're over probably 1.2 million in value for basically contributing $350,000, plus probably another 400 or 500 in the phase 2 to finish out the park.
But this park in this area wasn't part of our park's master plan, like to acquire land here to have a public park?
No, I mean, this area wasn't even, I guess, part of the thought to have been in the master plan at that time.
Okay. I mean, it's lovely, and I like more parks. I'm not saying that I think that we shouldn't do it. It's just, these are just thoughts that I have.
Sure. And as Dave mentioned, another reason that we were in favor of it being close to Crown Point is also one of the smaller side of our parks, and we can kind of move around some of our amenities. So we don't have to have pickleball, basketball at both locations. We can have basketball at one, pickleball at other, that sort of thing. Okay. When Crown Point was developed, that was a developer-led project. The asphalt sports court area was supposed to be designed to have 2 basketball courts, but the way they poured it, we weren't able to fit 2. And so we have 1 basketball, 1 pickleball, and kind of just some other space that's really underutilized. And so that's why we kind of thought this was a win-win on being able to kind of move some of our amenities around.
Okay.
I like it. It's another anchor for this community up here, and in 10 years when I drive by and don't see just a grass field there, I'll feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think my opinion is with yours, that it would be a win-win. I actually think this is a pretty interesting format for kind of public parks that are typically an HOA, considering one of the HOAs that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the development is not up to what city standards would be and what our citizens would expect. Initially upon construction, but also upon, 10 years down the road with maintenance. So I really like the kind of the cooperation that we have with this developer. Plus it adds to our portfolio of parks within the city, which I think is fantastic already. And additionally, I think, with the acquisition of that land at a greater value than what we have invested in it, I think it is a win-win.
I guess my only heartburn, I agree with all that, but I do still have some heartburn except that, this developer is going to end up with a nicer product, largely at taxpayer expense, which is going to make all the new development around it sell for a premium dollar, I would say, and then they get to wash their hands of the tax bill and maintenance and all of those sorts of things. And how many people from, the Highlands or downtown core or are going to go use this park, and they're all going to be paying for it, and the ongoing maintenance, and the developer and the HOA get a pretty large burden off their back at taxpayer expense.
Yeah, I think on that note too, though, all of these lots will be paying impact fees, and so, thinking about it that way, there's still that contributing to development of parks in city parks.
So Robbie, if I could add, not that he's not doing a great job, but I'd like to answer.
You just want to say one more thing before you go off.
Well, it's a mic.
Do it, Dave.
To answer a few questions, I understand what you're saying about developers. I've had the same heartache and heartburn, but our state legislature changed the rules on impact fees, so we do have to reimburse. That wasn't always the case. The second thing is, if it's an HOA, we don't have any control on it in the future. So some fad comes in, some new trend, pickleball, skateboarding, you name it, maybe lacrosse. If it's not controlled by the city, we can't address the needs of future generations. So those are really big things. I can tell you that when Robbie brought me the numbers, I was ecstatic because I was expecting a lot more. So from my standpoint, it's a really good deal. We try to do win-wins with the developers because we're here for the long term. They're going to be around. We want to work with them again. Yes, I would love to get more, and I would love to not use impact fees, but that's where we've been pushed.
Sure.
And I'm not saying any more because then I don't have to do my talk at the end.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Fair?
Yes.
If I
Sorry.
showed you how popular water polo is, would you get me a pool? No.
Well,
I wish you could have been around a few years ago when we talked about a pool and how badly that was defeated.
I know.
We've brought in an expert who I'm sure will be more than happy to get your water polo pool.
Thank you so much. Perfect.
Any other questions, comments?
I just have a couple comments. I think when we see a case where the developer would benefit by doing something like this with the city, I think it's right for that to raise red flags and to look at it. But the real question is not whether it benefits the developer, it's whether it benefits the city and the citizens, and whether it's a wise use of taxpayer dollars for what we're getting for it. Because it's possible to have a win-win where we can have a developer benefit and also have residents benefit. This looks to me like one of those cases. I can definitely see the argument for saying, if it's an HOA thing, let every HOA do their own park. But from what we've seen from HOAs, we would just have no parks if we did that. And I know that they serve a lot more than the residents just there. The park groups here rotate through, they go to parks all over the place. And so I think the reason why you don't see really high quality HOA parks is because it's not just for those residents. In most cases, it's actually a citywide amenity. And if the Parks Department is okay with this one, then I am too. I like it.
And it was only a few years ago that we had to go into Crown Point and redo that part because it was not done properly.
Not done right. Yeah.
So.
I'm just being a fence rider tonight. I mean, the property, that's one thing that's tipping me towards it is that property's never going to get any cheaper around here.
That's right.
And there's only so much of it. It's just a little bit of heartburn still too.
Well, let's see how you're riding the fence. Anyone want to float a motion?
This isn't an ordinance, correct?
Not an ordinance.
I move to approve Crown Reserve Park Construction Improvement Agreement.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Malloy.
Aye.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Flu.
Aye.
Westland.
Aye.
Stigleader.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye. Motion passes.
You did that on purpose, didn't you?
Shannon, you did that. And next item up tonight is a Quarry Sports Complex grant of sewer easement.
Good evening again. Robbie Quinn, Parks Planner. This is more or less another housekeeping item on our quarry complex site. So as we've been going through the final design documents and the permitting, it was discovered that there is no current easement in place for an existing sewer service on our property. This sewer service, shown here in green, is tied into Charleville Road, and it services the Ross Point Water District office building up here. It was installed in 2017. And again, it's just kind of more of a housekeeping item it protects them, but it also protects us in developing over this line in the future. Obviously, we're aware of it now, but future generations may not have been and build something over it, and that has to get torn out at some point. So that's essentially what we're here this evening asking for, is the approval of the easement. And I guess just real quickly, it doesn't impact our design. This space was essentially always going to be a landscape buffer anyways. If you recall kind of from the plans, this area was sports courts, and again, we were always going to have a planting buffer along that property line.
Was there supposed to be an easement that just didn't get recorded, or was this built without permission and we're rectifying?
No, to my knowledge, and this was before I was here, when we discovered it, we talked to Ross Point. They were under the impression that there was one. We were under the staff was also, so I don't know what happened, but it wasn't just done without permission, I'm sure.
Well, I'm on the fence about this one.
Come on, Joe.
You're going to have more slivers tonight.
I would move to approve the Quarry Sports Complex grant of sewer easement.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion. Roll call, please.
Ziegler.
Aye.
Flu.
Aye.
Westland.
Aye.
Stigleader.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, and just one other clarifying point. We did run this by our grant representative to making sure that this doesn't cause any issues with our approved grant. And she basically said we were all good. We just need to show it on the final plan. So.
Thank you. Nice. Next item up, citizens' issues, and this section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the council regarding city-related issues that are not on the agenda. If anyone wishes to speak, come forward. There's a familiar face. Name for the record, ma'am.
Carrie Thorson, 2508 Powderhorn Street, Post Falls, Idaho.
Thanks, Carrie.
First of all, Merry Christmas, coming soon. And because I was sitting here with, I'm going to call him Chief Mueller, Acting Chief Mueller, I want to give a real shout out to the Post Falls Police Department, who for over 25 years, I don't know how many, but over 25 years, has taken the lead in the Holidays and Heroes program. And for several of those years, my husband and I have had the really the privilege of volunteering with that program. And while it encompasses all of law enforcement and first responders and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue in Kootenai County and surrounding counties, it really is the Post Falls Police Department that leads it. And they do such a wonderful job, and it's from the heart. And so I am honored that I get to volunteer with them, but Jason's leadership was very impressive this year. So kudos to the police department. I love these guys and gals. The reason I'm here is because I missed you all as a citizen, is, Mayor Jacobson mentioned something in his comments, and I had not seen anything in the paper or any notices about taking applications for the vacancy that will happen in the first meeting in January, or after the first meeting in January. And I would like to say right off, I have no intention of applying for that vacancy. But I did want to tell you all how really uncommon it is that this will be the third vacancy that will be appointed on this city council. It's just a huge responsibility. Everything y'all do is a huge responsibility. But this one, when I retired in January of 2024, I had served 16 years, 4 terms on the council, and I never participated in interviewing people for a vacancy on the council. It is really uncommon that the city of Post Falls, in a year's span, is going to have 3 times if that happens. I attended the interviews, the 2 separate interviews for the vacancies last year. Was it just last year? Just last year. And something that was very disappointing to me is that those were less like interviews and more like interrogations and somewhat confrontational. It broke my heart, because I know that people that volunteer to serve on the Park and Rec Commission, but especially Planning and Zoning, the Planning and Zoning, those people do the heavy lifting. There's no paycheck. They do a great service to this community and to the council. And so the second round, when they were disqualified, anyone who was serving on Planning and Zoning, and maybe anybody who'd ever served on Planning and Zoning, or anyone who had run for the council, who would ever put their name on a ballot and gone out there and knocked on doors, they were disqualified. Their applications were not even going to be considered. And I don't know what your process is. I won't be involved in it because I'm not going to apply and I'm not on the council. But I wanted to really encourage, before that process is started or decided on how it will be, is that people are not citizens who are eligible to serve on the council, that no one is disqualified, whether they are, whether they've run for office unsuccessfully or not, or whether they do the heavy lifting on one of our councils or commissions as a volunteer. So I would hope that we, the people...
We're at 5, so if you'd wrap it up for us.
Oh, I don't see the clock.
It's behind you.
Oh, it's behind you.
Oh, it's behind me?
Sorry.
But anyway, so that's my... Oh, there's one right in front. Oh, I'm 15 seconds over. Thank you for what you all do and will continue to do. And congratulations, Mayor-elect Westland. Lots of changes. Godspeed, Mayor Jacobson.
Thank you.
It's kind of good on this other side out here, I'm telling you. But thank you, and that's just what I wanted you to consider, is not to make any exceptions to who can apply, and consider all fairly and equally.
Thanks, Jerry.
Merry Christmas.
Anybody else? We do have one administrative staff reports, Park and Recreation presentation. Dave.
And as Dave walks up here, I'm going to read something. So when you look at the playgrounds, the ball fields, the trails, community events, and the programs that fill our seasonal brochures, we save Dave's fingerprints everywhere. Long after his retirement party is over, long after all of us in this room have moved on to new chapters, there will be children who grow up in playing in these parks, families who gather for reunions and picnics, seniors who stay active and connected, and neighbors who meet for the first time at a city event. They may not know Dave's name, but they will feel the impact of his work. This is the quiet power of public service. You don't always get headlines, you don't always get credit, but you build something that lasts. And Dave, you have absolutely built something that lasts. Thank you.
Makes it. Dave, before
We have tissue,
before you start though, did she say you don't always get head lice?
probably.
Okay, just
Yes.
Mayor, council, Dave Fair, Senior Park and Recreation Director. 30 years. That's a long time in a position, but not long enough for a Park and Rec Director. Because what we do is so far out, so many years out. You know, I started with a title, actually a file, Dave's Last Talk. And I'd throw stuff in it. And I'd look at it. And I thought about that. And then I started thinking about the last. It made me think about a musical by Sting, The Last Ship. It's a great musical. But it was about the decline of the British shipbuilding industry. Thought about the last lecture series at Carnegie Mellon. Most of those ended with about ends. That's not what this talk is about. It's not about decline. It's not about ending. It's about where I believe we need to continue to go to be successful as a department and as a city, as a community. I start with this slide here, the castle at White Pine Park, because in my mind, this is where it started for me. This was a change of our standards. This was the start of modernizing our department. And most importantly, this was the start of changing the perception about our department. And that was critical for our success. 30 years. That's a lot of institutional knowledge. And this is my way to pass on that institutional knowledge, because really, that's just perspective. And you need to know where you've been to know where you need to go. So, when I first got here, that was our brochure. You might have had something to do with publishing this. Don't take this personal then. We publish it once a year. It had stuff in it. It listed some dates, sometimes some fees. Mostly it didn't. Now, our brochure, it does have dates. It has times. It tells you everything about it. It's very professional, but most importantly, it allows people to schedule and get things done so they know what their lives are busy. So this allows for that. That's their first look at our department, at our programs. We were a small department, 6 people. We've grown a little bit since then, but we're very efficient, 32. For those that like numbers. We had 6 parks, we now have 37. Our park acreage was 175 acres, we're at 933. Maybe more, Robbie, now that we just added that agreement, I don't know. I can't tell you the program enrollment. I can't tell you the attendance. We didn't take it back then. We didn't start till 96. It took me a full year to realize we didn't have the numbers. 96, 25,000 attendance hours. Now we're at 179,000. A little bit of a growth there. We were 2 divisions. We're 5 divisions now. Our revenue was 93,000. Our revenue is now 1.4 million. Now, for the fence sitters, expenditures did go up just a little bit, from 265,000 to 5.5 million. Now, one thing to understand, it wasn't until 95 that we actually got money for capital. We got $3,000 for equipment and park construction. The world's changed. I can tell you it hasn't gotten easier, but it's still worth it. I wanted to show you pictures of some facilities. Up at the top there was the boat launch. Those docks were partially underwater. They were wooden. The logs are still at Camillin Park. If you go along the parking spots going on up from the upper parking lot down, that's the log floats. We drug them out. We tried to dry them out. Wasn't the same. So if you make it down to Black Bay and see the new dock, totally different. The castle at the start, that's what it replaced, the metal playground. That's where we were at. There was a spiral slide. I wasn't going to show that. There's some things that you just don't show. Our facilities for park maintenance, that was taken in 2001, so not quite when it started. But we were busting at the seams. We spent half an hour in the morning moving cars and trucks out of the yard, half an hour at night trying to get them back in. All our equipment was stored outside. It kind of ends the space. Today, there's the shop, and I should say we were more than happy when Public Works left that 3rd Street shop to take it over. And we've continued to improve it. Things are undercover. We're taking care of that public investment. Our playgrounds are state-of-the-art. You know, we're protecting city assets. We're modernizing it. Our things are captivating. They're efficient. They're energizing. We've come a long way. So you've seen where we were. Now you're going to see a little bit of where we're at right now. Our revenue streams, we had 3: general fund, fees and charges, donations. When it started, we now have, along with those sponsorships, impact fees, grants, rentals and concessions, and dedicated accounts. That would be the special event accounts, the park trust accounts, the cemetery replacement. We don't have, you broaden it so you're not impacted with a bad year, you hope. Okay, this is where I get to get on a soapbox. And we talked a little bit with some discussion on Crown Point Reserve. I want you to understand how important and critical impact fees are for our department. It's always been our view that growth should pay for itself, that we need to keep our system as unaffected by growth as we can. So it's a snapshot of where we were, so that every citizen coming along has it. It's a replacement methodology. We wanted to keep Post Falls feeling like a small town. But our capital expenditures, over 90% of it comes from impact fees. I'd also like to remind you guys that you did not take the full amount for impact fees that the parks were available. So we've really struggled to keep up and to get that. So anytime we can get those deals with the developers and negotiations, we have to do it. We have to go after the grants. That's not going to change. We really work hard. And I think truly that Crown Point Reserve is one of those things. Our citizens will end up with a better product. I know impact fees will be coming back to the council this next spring, maybe a little later, but next year. Please accept that just how critical impact fees are for the continued success of our park system and that development and handling it. There's discussion of moving away from the replacement model to a project-based. There's mixed opinions on that. The only thing I ask is that when you look at everything, you make sure that there's flexibility in the system. That's the process that has allowed us to take, to look at opportunities and to be able to go get that. So it's not specific that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Growth doesn't happen that way. And that it is an ability to be flexible. So I think that's why we've been successful. Okay, I'll get off the soapbox. We've balanced our system through having park amenities spread throughout the city so that it's walkable, connectivity, broad-based recreation programs, so that we're serving as many needs of the community as possible, community engagement, and reducing conflicts through design and everything else. We have a lot of standards now. We have a level of service for parkland, for recreation programs, minimum amenity standards that tell us how many basketball courts, pickleball, you name it, so that it's not just an arbitrary throw something against the wall to see how it fits. There's an actual process in that. We have the park grid for access, design standards, really thick. Tree standards. Can't say enough for how that's helped us. It's so much easier to plant the right tree in the right location than to plant it, watch it just starting to get nice, and then take it down because we messed up. Standards for staff professionalism and our rules. Going to take a break.
That may or may not be water.
Well, after Friday, no, it's not. It also gives you a chance to look at our staff. I can't say enough about them. It's one of our most important things. They're dedicated staff. They want to serve the community. You know, we're not a 9-to-5 Monday through Thursday department. We're 7 days a week, year round. All kinds of hours, lots of weekends, lots of evenings, call-outs. But it's to serve the community, to make it better. 30 years, there's a few successes. I wanted to highlight a few that I thought were important. I already mentioned the revenue streams impact, but the Tullamore Quarry development. We had a failed development there. The developer went under. A lot of developers looked at it. We had one that actually had the finances to do it, but there is a lot of restrictions because you had approved park plans already. Very, very elaborate park plans. It wasn't going to work, and that's just how it is. But it took, I don't know how many years, a lot of years to go through, but we came up with a win-win that ended up with having Tullamore Park built, same type of partnership, and getting the land for the quarry, which hopefully this spring we'll start construction on. You know, that was a tough one because we kept hitting roadblocks, but it came through. Seeing the community forest come together. We bought the Crutch property, made a bookend, and kept trying to sell that idea, and it's wonderful. The cemetery improvements, our broad-based recreation programs, adding the urban forestry and the planning divisions, the health of our trees. I could have shown you a ton of pictures when I first got here of all the trees being taken down by the windstorms and stuff. I hate to say that right now because we're supposed to get the wind tonight, but we really have improved the health. One thing you don't see is the pine bark beetle infestation that we've been fighting in Black Bay for the last few years. We're getting a handle on it. It's going to be a continuous problem, but we still have trees at Black Bay. Planning, construction, it's gotten very complicated. So having great staff on that, the neighborhood parks within walking distance, community engagement, Black Bay Depot for all of just the little details that make it special. And then probably one of my favorites is downtown for a day. We took a concept, got staff to help make it happen. It wasn't just our department, but other departments jumped in and created what the downtown could be. Now, we only got to do it for 1 year, but in my mind, it was everything that a department should be. It engaged, it got imagination. It was the perfect event. Weather was terrible. We did come up short a few times. You know, can't win them all. Not buying Quad Park the first time, the second time, and the third time. Probably one of our biggest mistakes. You know, we've haven't always gotten land connected to the parks. Sometimes it goes too fast. Sometimes we just can't afford it. It's life. Connecting pathways, probably not getting the center of the Corbin ditch was a big loss because we could have connected the U of I area down to the downtown. But it happens. I don't mind making the mistakes on those misses, by the way. That just says you're trying. And so what? We make a mistake. We go fix it. I'd rather do that than not have tried. And here, this is really a shameless plug for the American sheep industry. So eat more sheep and euros and all those good things. Where we need to go, planting the seeds. These are the things that I see from a long-term standpoint that we really can't lose sight of. In other words, I didn't get them done, so somebody else has to do it. Thoughts. It's the little things that make your parks and your programs great. It just takes a little more effort, but it's worth it, every bit of it. We don't have a fire department, so I can pick on them right now. You go to any city, and your fire departments are pretty much the same. Okay, the truck might be different, white, yellow, or red. But you go to a park and rec department throughout the nation, they're all different. They have this or that. It's because they're a reflection of the community. So you just have to understand that it will be a little bit different, but it should reflect what your community is, and it will change over time. Always engage the community. Don't forget the people. That's why we're in business. Expand the revenue centers. I've probably said that enough times, but maybe it'll sink in. Obtain land that's adjacent to parks when possible. Don't make the same mistakes I've done. Another soapbox time. Downtown area is critical. We need to obtain the Burlington Northern rail line when they abandon it, not just the rail line, but the switch yard. We need to obtain buffer land around the amphitheater at the landing. We need to finish the esplanade. We need to pick up more land around the water tower because that becomes an anchor for that esplanade between that and Falls Park. You want the engagement. The reason for the amphitheater, I'll get that to the next slide. Okay, time over for a soapbox, but understand it's so important to the success of our department, of the city in future years. Once again, we plan way out. Find access to the Department of Land's property south of the community forest. You got 1,600 acres of land up there. All we need is some way to get access, trailhead and pathway up. Ultimately, that can connect to the land over in Spokane County, the Micah Peak area, that whole thing. What a boon for the whole region. And it's not just for that. What about all the companies that deal in that outdoor stuff that would be willing to come in so people can play, that make the equipment? The Potlatch property, it's one of the last pieces of large property in the center or core of the city. You need to get some of that. If the Pandar building ever comes up for sale, that's right next to the 3rd Street shop, buy it. When I talked about the railway corridor, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so way up here, that's one of our parks right there next to the school. Comes all the way down, hits Falls, or Treaty Rock, Falls Park. The switch yard, it's not really showing up there. You'll have to, it's the wider blue. That railway goes all the way down to Coeur d'Alene. That was supposed to be the original Centennial Trail. It's critical to have that. And if it means creating, just like we do the facility reserves, create and reserve to get that when it comes in. I know Bob's been working with the railroad, trying to get first rights. It's critical. I'm almost done with my thoughts. I've only got 72 more slides. Continue to partner with key stakeholders, strengthen them wherever possible, get new ones. We need to build a field house for indoor stuff, the gyms and for basketball and volleyball. When COVID hit, and we couldn't get into the school district. It just devastated our program, and it took time to recover. When you have only one sole source, just like revenues, it can hurt you if something happens. The other thing, I've always hated to tell you, okay, we need to get this, because I've been in places where they actually pointed that out, and it never, but the Hanson property at State Line, that will need to be annexed into the city at some point. When it comes in, you do have the ability, as a condition of annexation, to ask for things. Ask for land along the river for a trail connectivity. Ask for some land for a community park that's adjacent to the county's part there. Someday that county parcel will be the city's. So add to it. Look towards a long-term dedication account, which is what I was talking about for the rail corridor. Consider a corpus trust or a foundation. Most of all, engage the community. It's why we're in business. It means the best parks, best programs. They're nothing without people. If people are not engaged with each other through this, then that also means no community. I ask you to remember that that we, the city, are a service industry, that Parks and Recreation, maybe more than most, is a service industry. Parks and Recreation isn't mandated. It's by state code. We're here because the people want it. Another way to look at it is we're not telling residents they need to have us. They're telling us that we need to provide it. And if we're going to provide it, we need to provide it at the best level we can and provide the best service for our residents. 30 years. There's a lot of people to thank after 30 years. I hate to single people out because I'm going to miss somebody who should be thanked, and I'll hear about it. But, that's from past council members. That's past Park and Recreation Commission members, volunteers, staff, both full-time and part-time. My current staff, they're the ones who really should get credit for everything we've done. That makes me look good, makes our department look good. If it looks bad, I probably had a hand in it, but that's okay. They've cleaned up a lot of stuff. I said I don't want to single out some people, but I really do. I have to thank Shelley and Warren for their support, for the belief in me, for listening to me complain at times. I have to thank my management team, Tracy, Brian, Robbie, Kevin, and Preston. They are so good at their job. They made it easy, and they can do it. I have to thank my family. They've had to put up with the impacts of my job. They've had to take the back seat more times than was probably fair, or they should have. Any of you serving here, you know the exact same thing. I wouldn't change that. I look at Post Falls, and I absolutely am very proud of everything I see. And I guess most of all, I have to thank the citizens of Post Falls for trusting me with the stewardship of the department. And, it's been a great career. I'm very grateful for everything we accomplished. And I hope I built a good foundation for Chris to take over and keep it running. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Dave. Job well done. Next item up is mayor and council comments. We're going to reverse it. Council comments.
Mr. Mayor, this will be my last meeting. I will not be at the January meeting due to some stuff. Medical stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. Nathan.
Yes, I do have comment. I would like to read a letter to all of us, and then I'll expand on that. It says, Dear Corbin Rose, thank you for your nice letter. Happy New Year to you. Study hard and be a good student. Your friend. And this letter was written to my daughter when she was in first grade in 2014 by Mayor Ron Jacobson.
2000 what year?
2014. So I wanted to take the opportunity just to thank you in many ways. Your leadership and commitment to the city has affected me on multiple levels, from being a hometown resident and living here my entire life. You've affected me personally. You've affected my family and my daughter, and I think this letter is just one example of how your caring and commitment to the citizens of the Post Falls really shines through. This is things that you don't have to do, that you have chosen to do, and I am very appreciative as a father of for someone like you to show that kind of example of civic engagement to a first grader at her age. It just really made a big impact. And then thirdly, as a council member, I will miss you and your leadership here. You've been a great example to me as how strong and firm yet humble leadership should be lived out. And I appreciate you in that way as a fellow servant, as a council member here, and I hope as a friend as well. So I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody else?
On the same
Yep.
line, Brian, worked with you for 10 years when you were on the planning and zoning, and a year on the council. It's been a pleasure. Wish you the best of luck, and I'm sure we'll see you around and involved as always.
I'll be here for citizen comment.
Ron, 14 years I've been on the council now with you. It seems bizarre that back then I was by far the youngest and least experienced person on the council, and somehow I've become the sage old man on the porch, telling kids to get off their lawn. But you've been a friend and mentor to me the entire time. I really appreciate your guidance. A lot of phone calls. If he takes as many phone calls from other people as he's taken from me, then I don't really have time to do anything. But really appreciate you, and this definitely isn't goodbye. I'm going to keep bothering you anyway.
Perfect.
But thanks for everything you've done.
My pleasure.
I want to go next before someone says something, way more interesting than what I have to say. But thank you for your graciousness and your welcoming when I was appointed to the council. It was obvious and noticeable, and I was very nervous back then. And you a little bit of a fatherly aspect to you that was really appreciated. And I appreciate when my dad was dying, you checking in with me on that regularly. That was also very touching. So thank you for everything you've done for me and for the city.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know what I'm going to call you next year, because I've always only called you Mr. Mayor. So I might just keep that up, and I'm so sorry. But I think we've had a fun relationship the last 2 years. And so, yeah, I'm excited for you and for the freedom that you're going to gain to spend some time with your wife that has just been so generous and kind. And I have so enjoyed all of the moments that I've gotten to get to know her. And I'm sad that maybe I won't see her as often. But if you don't mind, and also if you don't mind, new upcoming Mr. Mayor, I might just keep calling you Mr. Mayor, if that's okay.
Well, it's like Mr. Paulus.
Yeah.
I see Rob at Costco or at church, and it's always Mr. Mayor. I says, Rob, we're at church. He goes, no, Mr. Mayor.
No.
Rob, it's Ron.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor. I was just going to announce that this is also my last meeting. Every other year, we get to spend with our kids. And the kids have been so gracious that they've married people who coordinate schedules. So every other year, the in-laws get them, and this year happens to be ours. And we usually travel at Christmas, but now that kids all have their own houses, and we've got 6 grandkids, and they want to have Christmas at their house with their kids, which we fully understand. So this year, we're celebrating after Christmas, and at the January 6th meeting, we'll have kids in town. And I'm not going to come in to call the meeting to order and then do the consent calendar. So, Mr. Malloy, if you would do the honors, I would be very much appreciative.
I'm in.
I serve with some great people. Carrie, gosh, as an elected 27 years, I had the pleasure of being involved in the hiring of Bayfair twice. I believe I was the first chairman of your Park and Recreation Commission. I've worked with some great folks. Half of you up here I've worked with for a short period of time, so, you know, it's a new relationship. But I want to target the people I've worked with for a full term. And Nathan, you know, I didn't know you till you ran, and you've been nothing but a pleasure. We don't agree on everything, and that's absolutely perfect because we do it for the right reasons. Our opinions are for valid reasons. We can disagree, still remain friends. Your compassion for the city, dedication to the city is evident. So I sincerely appreciate it. Mr. Malloy, 14 years. I remember when Joe ran for office the first time, he told me, he says, I came to a budget meeting, and I heard one of the councilmen say, we have to take a budget increase. And Joe says, I knew I needed to run against him. Joe says, then he got involved and said, you know, the guy was probably right. We probably did need to. And you've never lost sight of what's best for the city. And again, we have not agreed on everything, and I think it's just been a wonderful relationship. So, you know, I sincerely appreciate the time that I spent with you and look forward. And I told Joe when I was thinking about when I was trying to decide if I was going to run for re-election, I said, Joe, you know, if I don't run, I'm going to endorse you. And someday, maybe you'll give me the opportunity, you know, for whatever position. So please let me know. Mr. Davis, I've only served with you on the council for a year, but I've known you a lot longer. 10 years on P&Z. You chaired that. You, as Carrie said, P&Z does a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm absolutely 100% convinced that you were the best qualified, most qualified candidate when I appointed you to the council, and you have not disappointed. Thank you very much. I wish you the best as you face your medical challenges. Know that we're here for you. I'm here for you. Your wife will be happy to have you full-time. Well, maybe she will. At first. Ryan and Jamie have dedicated more time to this city as a couple than I think anybody I know. So it's been a true pleasure. And like I said, it's been a good run. You know, I was talking to Carrie. She says it's good on the other side. And I say never say never. We'll see if and when any opportunity presents itself. And it is kind of funny, but in the last week, I've had 2 different groups contact me and see if I want to go back to work. And on the first case, it was back in banking, and I thought about it for probably about a half a second, said no. So anyway, never know where you might see me. So again, it's been fun. It's been a challenge. We've gone through significant growth. We went through COVID. We went through a great recession. And I'm just fortunate to be able to work with such a wonderful staff. We got great people to keep me out of trouble. And you're second to none. And I know because I've talked to mayors from other cities. Matter of fact, what was it, 8 months ago? City of Lewiston's mayor, who's become a friend, brought 2 or 3 of his staff members up to talk to us to see how we do things, because we do it right. I hear that Brent Reagan, chair of the Republican Central Committee, says the thing that drove him nuts about me is that I supported urban renewal and he doesn't. He says, and the reason it drives me nuts is because if urban renewal is done properly, it's because it's in the city of Post Falls. And anytime you can have someone who disagrees with the concept admit that, I think it's because it is being done right. So to our urban renewal staff, of which Jamie's wonderful wife has been a member for several years, thank you. To our Planning and Zoning Commission, to our Park and Recreation Commission, and everybody that's contributed to the city. Like Ryan says, I may be here because I'm still paying the taxes. So I may show up at meetings, but probably not. I've been in enough meetings, and I will guarantee you that the second meeting in January, and I've already told this to Shelley, I'm going to take my bride to dinner to a nice restaurant, and I'm going to text Shelley a picture of the 2 of us sipping a cocktail during your meeting. And I'm going to text Shelley. So anyway, thank you very much. It's been a great run. We do not need an executive session. Next motion is?
Go home.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And adjourned.